Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the New Era Fest for Entrepreneurs. My name is Jeanette Harrison, and I'm going to talk to you today about my Get Your Walk On journey. I actually am the author of Get Your Walk On. It's a book, I actually call it a walk book, and it's about walking. Obviously, it's a walking workbook. Do you remember the last time you were sitting on the couch with your bucket of popcorn and maybe you had some peanuts in it and you were just all snuggled up under your blanket watching a movie, and you get this little thought in your head like, you know what? I should get out and exercise more. I should go for a walk instead of sitting here eating my popcorn and, for me, peanut M&Ms. That's pretty much what happened to me. I was sitting on my couch one day, just relaxing in my basement, and I decided I used to exercise a lot and I wanted to get out and start walking. And so I joined, at the time I was part of the American Public Health Association, and I joined the American Public Health Association's Billion Steps Challenge. That's what it used to be called. Now it's called the Keep It Moving Challenge. And I was walking my little dog. I have two little dogs. One, his name was Manny. He was a rat terrier. He passed away last year. And then the other one was my little dog, Mosey, which hopefully she's really cooperative and doesn't bark during this whole talk. She's a sweetheart. And I was at the most I'd ever weighed. I didn't feel good about myself. I had a part-time job that I did. I was just like, my self-esteem was at its lowest ever. And I was sitting there and I just felt like I needed to do something. So what I did is I just started walking, and the first year I was just getting out and moving my body. I just went out, I walked around the block, and then I walked around the next block, and then I walked to the park down the street, and then I just kept walking. And really, the secret I had was that I wasn't telling anybody was the reason behind why was I walking. Because sometimes you're out, you're like, my why is I want to feel better, I want to feel healthier. But it was really not just my body, it was my body, my mind, and my spirit. I needed it. So for my body, I was out walking because it was the most I'd ever weighed. I didn't feel good about myself. And as you can see, I'm still a plus size princess here. You know, I'm okay with that. But at the time, I wasn't okay with the way I looked. And one of the reasons was, in my mind, I would look at myself, I would get ready in the morning, and I'm not kidding you, I would put my makeup on and I would do my hair, but I wasn't really looking at myself in the mirror. I wasn't saying, wow, you look good. Like, I had my ex, he used to look in the mirror every day and he was like, man, I'm handsome. Like, every day. When was the last time you told yourself, like, girl, you look good? When was the last time you said that? I never said that to myself. Never. And so I started going out walking, and I was like, I'm gonna lose weight because I'm out walking, and I'm gonna feel better. And I would walk, and man, when you're out of shape, you know how this is, right? You think, I'm gonna go out and walk, and I'm gonna do these steps, and my knees hurt. So I'd have to sit down and take a rest. And I'd walk until I was tired. And I kept doing that, but then every week I started doing a little bit more. And a little bit more, and a little bit more. And I finally got to the point, I started talking to people because I was super isolated and alone at home. That's part of the truth too, that I didn't tell anybody. Because I was in a bad situation at home. And one of the things was that the situation was very controlling over me. And I felt like I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't talk to anybody. People were constantly playing mind games with me because I thought it was funny. And I was being severely psychologically abused. So one of the ways I kept people from doing that is I just didn't talk to people. And then But that's what abusers want, right? They want you to be isolated. They don't want you to talk to anyone. And so that's what I did. I just started keeping it inside. And then I was like texting people. Okay, so I was like, okay, well, I can text these people and tell them what's happening to me. Like, hey, help me, help me, help me, is basically what I was saying. They didn't. Instead, I got a barrage of what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you telling me this? Why are you allowing this person to treat you this way? I was being blamed, and I can tell you I was hurt. I was super hurt. But I kept walking. And as I kept walking, I'd wrap my ankles in tape, the gauze, the sticky gauze. I'd wrap my ankles in that because I had blisters because I wasn't in great shape. I wasn't used to buying the right shoes. Buying the right shoes, by the way, is super important. So if you want to have the right shoes when you're out walking, it's a good idea to buy high mileage shoes. I didn't even know this was a thing back then. And you have to make sure that it fits your ankle right. Also, didn't even know this is a thing. So my shoes were cutting up my feet. The soles were declining. I was still out walking, sweating. Because by the way, I was in Missouri. And if you've never been in Missouri in the summertime in 100-degree heat, it is a hot day. Let me tell you, super hot. It's not dry heat like we have here in Idaho. It gets like 100 degrees, but it's not you walk outside and you start sweating. In Missouri, you walk outside and you start sweating. So I'm out walking, and I started feeling like this release. I would start crying for no reason. I'm like, what is going on? But I also started feeling little moments of joy, which I hadn't felt in a long time. Because I was super unhappy with my life. So unhappy. I had a master's degree, and what I was doing for work is I was doing gig work on Amazon. I was working for a company that scored standardized tests, and I was making less than $15 an hour. And my peers that I went to graduate school with, they were running hospitals in this country. And I was here struggling to make tens of thousands of dollars a year. And some of them are making millions. And I felt like it was so unfair. And I had such a hard life. So I kept walking. One day, I met this woman on the trail. I always saw her running, and she just happened to stop by me and started talking to me. And she was telling me how she was doing training for a 5K. I'm like, oh, I wish I could do a 5K. I wish I could do that. I'm like, that's so amazing that you're doing a 5K. I wish I could do one. And she said, well, how much do you walk a day? And I said, oh, I probably walk like 4 miles. And she said, well, guess what? You're already doing a 5K every day. And I was like, huh, I didn't know I was already doing a 5K. That's awesome. So what I did is I went home and I started thinking about doing 5Ks. I started looking it up online. And there are always, in case you don't know, there are always 5Ks around holidays. And that particular holiday, there was a 5K, and it was awesome for me because my ex, he would always be gone on holidays, and I had to spend the holiday by myself. I used to call myself a holiday widow because I had to spend all the holidays by myself, which should have been a clue to me that there was something else going on. But it wasn't, because I mean, like my brain had escaped my body at the time. And that's the mind part. This is where my mind comes back in. So I started doing 5Ks. And I went out and I did my first 5K. And I have the medal to prove it. 5K. And I'm like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Getting somewhere. And I kept doing 5Ks. And then, you know, the winter comes, and I don't know if you know, but winter in Missouri, it's some serious stuff. It's also super cold, like 30 below, snow, wind, hail, the whole bit. And it's Christmas time, and who wants to go outside walking when you could be going to a Christmas party, right? Or going to some musical or whatever you love doing. So in January, when January rolled around, the Billion Steps Challenge is there again. And I decided, okay, I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to do it differently because I have a goal. I wanted to get to 10,000 steps because everybody's always talking about 10,000 steps and how it's such a big deal. And it is a big deal. It is a big deal. But it's also a marketing ploy. So this is actually the 10,000 steps is a marketing ploy started by a company in Japan, in case you don't know. It's not like ooh, woo, woo, but it is a big deal. It's 5 miles a day, in case you don't know. So if you're walking 10,000 steps a day, you're doing 5 miles. But I knew I couldn't do 10,000 steps. I was like, let me get up to that. I'm going to work my way up to it. So it's January, and I had my Apple Watch on, and I started tracking how many steps I did, and I was doing about 2,000 steps just walking around the house, doing laundry, cleaning the house, because I kept a clean house, just so you know. Pretty clean. Now it's not as clean as it used to be, but really clean house, 2,000 steps a day, still sitting on my couch. And so then I decided I'm going to challenge myself to do 3,000 steps. And I started doing these videos. I don't know what made me do the videos, honestly. Looking back, I think it was that I saw other people doing them. And so I'm going to do these videos, these walking videos of kind of my walking journey. And remember, it's January and it's Missouri. So some of the days it was super cold. There was one day that I'm out there with I have like a pink scarf wrapped around my head. I have my heavy, like sub-zero winter coat on, my gloves, like 2 pairs of pants, boots. But I went out there and walked on that ice and snow, just so you know, just to make a point, just to prove to myself I could do it. So every week I increased by 1,000 steps. In February 2020, I was at about 4,000, 5,000 steps. And my ex came home. And he said, I need you to move out so my girlfriend can move in. I kept walking. And that walking is what saved me as the months went forward and I started changing my life and changing who I was going to be and knowing that my life was about to be something totally different. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I was scared because I'm like, we just bought a home. I'd been with this person for 12 years. I wasn't a spring chicken anymore. I was about to be 49 and I'm out walking. And the thing is that as I was walking, I was thinking about all these things that happened. And so much happened on that trail. So I kept walking, and probably then you know what happened next because it's February 2020. It was COVID. And everybody's like locked in. You're not supposed to go outside. You know nothing, like it's COVID. Everything was shut down where I lived. We had a stay-at-home rule. It was in effect from the start of COVID until July. But I still went out and walked because I said, as a public health person, I decided that diffusion of molecules was going to keep me from getting COVID and being outside. And also vitamin D helps prevent like respiratory infections. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be good. And I'm going to go out and walk. And by March, I was at about 10,000 steps. So good for me. I achieved my goal. I hit 10,000 steps. And I kept walking. I'm like, I'm going to see how far I can go, how high I can go. 10,000 steps, 15,000 steps, 20,000 steps. And the thing is that those moments on that trail in Missouri, it was transformational. I wasn't just walking to make myself happy, I was walking to make me have a better life. Because I knew my life was about to change and I needed something and I didn't know what to do. I contacted my family and they're like, well, we're not going to help you. Because they blamed me. I mean, obviously it was my fault that he decided to have another partner. That had to be my fault, right? And I contacted my friends. I thought they were my friends. I have never heard so many horrible things about myself in my life. They thought that was the time to tell me everything that they didn't like about me, these women that I thought were my friends. And they played a bunch of mind games. I mean, it's insane. Really, it is. And it wasn't just women, it was men too. Most of the people I went to college with. Just like, oh, here's our opportunity to tell Jeanette how much we hate her while she's leaving an abusive relationship, trying to change her life, moving to a whole new state with $2,400 and a little dog and a few boxes. But let's tell her what we think of her. I was so mad. Like, so mad. You have no idea. Like, one of these people, they contact me and they're like, you're such an angry person. You're so angry. And I'm like, you bet I am. You bet I'm angry. I had to pack up my life during a pandemic and move 1,000 miles away from home by myself. I was so mad. So mad. And on top of that, I knew I had PTSD. Because as I was walking on the trail, all of a sudden one day everything went black. I saw in front of me, like a movie, a scene of where I had been abused, and then everything went black again, and I was right back on the trail, but I was in a different spot. Like, a totally different spot. I'd probably walked 5 or 10 minutes. That's how long that lasted. It scared me. It was super scary. And then when I got here to Idaho, I laid on my couch and stared at the wall. Because that's what happens, in case you don't know, when you're in trauma response. There's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And that's what I did. But I also walked, and it was healing. It was super healing. And a year later, I did another 5K. It was called a Higher Ground 5K. And it was basically climbing up a foothill. So I increased my elevation like double in less than 30 minutes. And it was a hike. It's actually called a ruck hike. It's supposed to take like a couple of hours. And here I am powering through it. Like I'm doing a 5K and I'm going to get done in 45 minutes. And it was super hard. But I did it. And I was so proud of myself. And just like I moved here with next to nothing, but I did it. And I was so proud of myself. And it was super empowering. And what do I think of myself today? I'm so proud of myself. Super proud of myself. In 2023, I went back at all these notes I had taken about my walking. And I put it together in my book, Get Your Walk On. I didn't think anybody was going to read this book. I'm like, no one's going to read this book. It's just a walking book. And as it turns out, a lot of people read it. When it came out, it was a #1 new release. You can check it out on Amazon or almost any online retailer. I had a book signing at Barnes & Noble. And I was so proud of myself. Because I got out and I got my walk on. And all I was doing is I was walking in nature. I was enjoying life. I was looking at deer, marmots. I didn't even know what a marmot was. I had to Google it. I took a picture of it and put it into Google. What is this? But I became a totally different person just from walking, just from being outside and being in nature and changing the way I think about myself. I look at myself in the mirror now and I say, girl, you look good. I sit on the couch and I'm like, I need to go for a walk today. Or I go for a walk and then I'm like, I need to really rest today instead of walking, instead of being outside, because I walk a lot. In fact, that's kind of what I'm known for in town here. But I want you to know that you can change your life just from doing something as simple as walking. All you have to do is get your shoes on, get your bottle of water, and get ready to get moving. All right, stay safe, stay healthy, and take care. Bye-bye.